Here we are north of Madera, New Mexico, about an hour north of Santa Fe. Looking back towards the Sangre de Cristos in the distance and Burro Mountain behind us. Down below here is the Vallecitos River. This is Highway 111. We're looking south, the highway is headed north up to Vallecitos. And I pan around here and we're at the entrance gate of a property that is 806 acres. It's a plateau up here on top, a couple of big canyons, and we're going to go up and take a look at it. And the owner of this property just put this new road in last year. Probably one of the nicest roads up here in this part of the country. Very, very well done. As you'll see, the view will change pretty dramatically as we get up here. We're about halfway up. Swing around here and get a little view down towards, actually that's all the way to Santa Fe down there in the distance. Now we're up on top of the plateau and the road continues north here for a little ways and then swings around. And we're pretty much on the north end of the property. This plateau is about a mile long. There's a full section and another quarter section. And in front of us are the Ortega peaks, which are kind of the backdrop of this property. Now we're up headed west, and you can see the long flat plateau. The mountain in the distance is Cerro Colorado, which is right above, or right next door to Ojo Caliente, back around to the lower end of the Sangres. We're just hiking down one of the many old trails and roads here up on top of the big plateau. And we've got some animals of some kind in here. A lot of elk on this property, deer, coyote, probably plenty of other things too. We are on the western side of the main plateau, right at the where it breaks off down into the canyon here. And we're looking across at the secondary plateau on the other side of this canyon. And then down below here there's a second fairly large canyon that goes all the way up towards the northwest corner of the property. So we're going to drop down into the canyon here with pine trees. It's a pretty good drop off from here to the bottom. Here's the first pine tree we've come across. This is all juniper pinon in here. And this pine tree is right on the very break of this cliffside that goes down. Be a great area to do some exercise first thing in the morning. Now we're about halfway down into the canyon, and as you can see, these are all ponderosa pines down here at the bottom. These are big trees, but we're right about at the tops of them. We'll head on down here. You can see this is still pretty steep going down. Elk sign everywhere. They're just all over the place in here, and a lot of it's buried. So here we are at the bottom of the canyon. Massive pine trees all around us. And here's a good example of the elk activity. This is a little pinon they use to rub their antlers to get the, what do they call that? Kind of that fuzz off their antlers when they're new. Now we're down at the south end of the property, and this is the brand new fence line that the current owner put in here. You can see it running due east and west. Goes up over this rise. We're down here at the pretty much the very bottom of the big canyon. Coming back up the main canyon from the bottom. Just a beautiful spot here with these big pines. following a game trail here. You can see this, but it's what we call an elk freeway. Worn down, heavily used, paralleling the canyon. It's quite a ways here. Here is a gigantic piñon tree. This is about as massive as they get. It's got to have a trunk that's 3 feet in diameter. It's huge. Now we're over on the west boundary of the main 640. We're headed up to where it meets the other 160 or so, the other quarter section. As you can see, it runs down over that ridge and then back down on the other side of that ridge to where we were at the southern boundary. You can see this beautiful canyon we just came up. That meets the other 2 canyons down below. And in the distance, there's Hickorita Peak off over the top of those mountains here in the foreground. Back down towards Taos. This is really a pretty canyon. Big pines. Boy, a lot of elk sign down. And now we're at the corner where the 160 meets the 640. And we just found a cow elk skull up here and put it on the fence line. But this corner then heads west another half mile and then north again, and then back to the 640. So we're going to continue on up this canyon, and we'll come out right at the northwest corner of the whole property. Moved a little further up the canyon and just had to get a picture of this old dead pine. Just gigantic, huge sculpture. The canyon's kind of opening up in here a little bit. Here we got another rubbing tree for antlers. This is just a classic. They've completely pruned this tree here. This is apparently just these are just the right height, and they have the right amount of sway to them or movement that they can make. It makes it perfect for them. This is the elk that we are. Back on the original trail we were on. We've made a big loop. Probably hiked between 4 and 5 miles here, almost all of it on the property. And we're coming back, and there's the truck. So, hope you enjoyed this view of these 806 acres up here by La Madera in northern New Mexico. Nice shot coming back out of off the plateau, down the road. There's the view down the valley, back to the mountains. Spectacular place. Audio.